welcome everybody. We are absolutely thrilled that you are joining us for the first in a multi-part series that will be every other month about enhancing resilience during this crazy time that we are living in of the pandemic and also as cancer patients and survivors. We are absolutely thrilled that Elicia Enriquez is going to be leading the sessions. And I've actually known Elicia for many years from my former life working in women and children's health and pediatrics. So I'm going to read you her bio, which is really impressive. And as a reminder, we encourage you to attend all of the sessions because they do build upon each other. If you miss one, it would be best if you could watch the recording beforehand so that you're caught up, because again, the concepts that we'll be discussing and the themes will kind of be building on each other. So Elicia Enriquez, LCSW, is a licensed clinical social worker who received her MSW from New York University Silver School of Social Work. Since 2021, Elicia has been a clinical social worker at the Center for Stress, Resilience, and Personal Growth at the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai, providing individual treatment and resiliency workshops to hospital employees. In addition, she participates in the Building Resilience Community Project with churches in East Harlem, providing community-based resiliency workshops. Elicia has been at Mount Sinai Hospital since 2016 and has over 13 years of experience protecting and advocating. As I'm going back and forth reading and admitting people, and advocating for children and families from vulnerable populations to understand, cope with, and address abuse, neglect, and trauma in hospital and social service settings. In addition to previously being the Child Protection Coordinator for Mount Sinai Hospital, Elicia has worked as a savvy volunteer providing support and advocacy to survivors of sexual assault and domestic violence, as well as taught first and second year medical students at the Icahn School of Medicine. Elicia applies a trauma-focused lens to her work and is passionate about sharing it with others. She enjoys teaching as an adjunct professor at John Jay College of Criminal Justice at CUNY and being a wellness advisor at Mount Sinai Hospital, where she leads individual and group counseling sessions for hospital staff to help manage the normative and unique challenges of their roles. So as you can tell, she is the perfect person to be leading this workshop for us. Again, for those of you who just joined, this is a multi-part, every other month series on enhancing resilience during this crazy time of the pandemic and everything else going on in our world. So I'm absolutely thrilled to turn things over to Elicia. We are in very good hands, and I really want to thank you all for being part of this really exciting initiative. And I look forward to spending not just today, but also over the next few months learning with you as we all build our resilience skills together.
Great. So thank you so much, Rachel, for having me. And I'm so glad to meet all of you. So like Rachel said, my name's Elicia. I have lots of background in history and whatnot. I don't know about you guys, if you've ever written a bio, it's like, oh, I do all these things, great. But anyway, I'm here to talk to you guys. And I always like to start these sort of to go around and see who's with us on this call today. I see that we have 13 of us. These workshops are really built to help everyone sort of understand what are small little things that we could maybe make changes for to make ourselves feel better in our daily lives. And there are going to be 4 of them that we'll be doing. And what I ask is that if you can be on camera, if you're comfortable enough to be on camera, it's helpful because this is like a interactive kind of workshop. It's not just like me talking at you because those tend to be boring. And you get the most out of it if you participate. So if you can turn your cameras on, great. If not, that's okay. Feel free to listen in. And Rachel, I don't know what the best way is, but if we could sort of go around and have people introduce themselves, that would be
absolutely. I can kind of call on people kind of in the order that they are on my screen. And again, some people, just because of where they are physically, might just need to type in. And so Ellen, I'm talking to you. So you can type that in and we'll get to it. And Lucy, I just want to let you know, there's a little bit of feedback from your microphone. So yeah, it's a tiny bit hard to hear. So all right, let's go around then in the order. So Robin Finling, if you don't mind starting. And I'm sorry, is there anything specific you would like people to tell you or just kind of their name, anything else specific?
I think their name and anything that they're hoping to get out of this workshop.
Great.
My name is Robin Finley. I'm one of the volunteers for this women, and looking forward to hearing what you have to enlighten us and teach us.
Glenn, you are next. And you're on mute, yes. So just make sure you unmute yourself.
Okay, yes. Well, I was attracted to this session because I'm trying to restart my life after having finished chemo last March. And I'm finding it difficult in this time of COVID because a lot of things are closed to me, such as like going to the theater, which I enjoy. I don't dare. And taking courses where I can meet some people that are not online, because all the courses I'm interested in are online. And I figure that I sit home enough online. So I'm wondering if you have any suggestions. That's
Barbara.
Well, I would like to just be reminded of all the self-care things that I need to engage with myself, because I'm a clinical psychologist and take care of a lot of patients. I'm taking care of my family one-handedly, so I'm maxed out, and I need to be able to focus more on myself and self-care.
Sandra.
Hi, I'm Sandra. I'm a survivor and then also volunteers with Woman to Woman. I think we all need to learn about increase our resilience. There's always a lot going on in our lives. So I feel like I would definitely benefit a lot from this workshop. Thank you.
And it just says Michael's iPhone, and I'm not sure who that is. So if your screen says Michael's iPhone, then we're talking to you. Apologies for the dog. Nancy, I'll turn it over to you while I'm quiet.
Hi, I'm Nancy. I'm also a volunteer with Women to Women and a survivor. And I've been working out at home, exercising at home, and I'm kind of lonely now, and I'm kind of looking to get out there and go to a gym. So I'm looking to see what I should be doing to help me with that. So this is definitely something I'm interested in.
And I apologize for the dogs, but Alyssa, you are next.
Hi, my name is Elicia. I finished my treatment for ovarian cancer March 23rd. And yeah, my son just started kindergarten and I've been home with him for the last 5 years. So maybe just some tips and support and trying to like believe in myself and getting back into the world, even though I'm pretty scared to do it. And I definitely don't look like myself or feel like myself. And I just need a big confidence boost somehow. I've been getting out there trying to play tennis and doing stuff, but I also need to like find a passion again. I went to the art museum last week and trying to walk around and try to close my eyes. Can I envision myself trying to work here? Where do I fit in? Like, I just don't know where I fit in anymore now that my role of mom has been cut in half to like just after school now. So thank you. Oh, also I'm having like incredible insomnia. So if you have tips for that too, I would love it. Thank you.
All encompassing. And I'm going to read Ellen's. So Ellen said, hi, I'm Ellen. I can always learn something new. And I wanted to see you guys. Missed you. So it's so good to see you too, Ellen. Thank you so much. Again, whoever, if you have not been called yet and it says Michael's iPhone, please feel free to chime in at any point, just because I'm not sure who that is. But in the meantime, let's hear from Danae.
Hi, Elicia. I am so glad to be here. Thank you, Rachel. I too have a social work background, and it's funny, my specialized area was domestic violence and children and women's protection. So I certainly mirror, not on your level, but I mirror that and can appreciate that background. It's wonderful. And this is going to be, I'm also in ministry. So this is going to be a great empowerment tool for me. And of course, I connect with the community and I work with people. So I am just very, very, I feel so grateful to be here.
Thank you so much. So we actually have two Joans. Let's start with Joan Robert.
Hi, excuse me, hello. I'm on maintenance treatment for ovarian cancer. I stopped my chemo also, I think maybe about June of 2020. And I'm just not, I'm looking to see what could be safe. I did take the vaccine booster and love to travel, and I'm a little reluctant. So just looking for tips on what can protect us.
And Robin Dropkin.
Sorry. Yeah, I just, I've had a lot of recurrences over the last 4 years, and I find that it's harder and harder to bounce back from each kind of, each session or so. So I'm just looking for ways to, to make sure that I do keep bouncing back, and how I can maybe bounce back faster.
And I think last but not least is the other Joan. We have two Joans.
Hi, everyone. Good to see you all. So I had hysterectomy, radiation, chemotherapy, and all of that ended in, believe it or not, 2019, but radiation provoked a sacrum pressure fracture. And so for 2 years, I've been marginally moving, etc., in order to heal my bones. And I'm pretty healed, I'm happy to say. But I've built a cocoon around myself. And one of the images is that, the cocoon then becomes the jail. So, and it just reminded me too, the other image is that when a butterfly comes out of the cocoon, the struggle that happens is good for it. If the cocoon is broken open in order to help the butterfly, it will die because it hasn't worked its wings against the cocoon. So maybe for us who, for myself, it just reminded me that I don't have to be, that's part of the process. It's nothing more than that. But I'm doing a lot of PT exercise that ends this week, formally at the hospital, and so I'm then turned on I'm on my own reconnaissance, which can be challenging. Sloth being an appropriate activity, and I'm only teasing about it. I don't feel like I'm slothful. I do a lot, and then I get tired. So I'm trying to find the way back slowly with respect to my own pain level and comfort level, back out into whatever this world is now. So
thank you so much. I think that The only person I think we have not gotten to, I'm going to just say again, Michael's iPhone. So if you have not introduced yourself yet, there's a little shifting around on my screen, then please do so now. And if not, that's okay also. But I'll actually chime in also. You know, I was particularly interested in this topic, and I'm really looking forward to participating in the various sessions with all of you. And I do hope that you all, again, will, you know, commit to doing this for yourself and coming to the sessions we have every other month, because I think this is a crazy time for everyone. You know, I think it's a crazy time for people personally and professionally and physically and emotionally. And I feel that I want to be able to support all of you and support my family and support myself. And I think that the basic skills of resiliency are so essential to doing that. And so I'm really looking forward to learning from you, Elicia, and I'm looking forward to learning from all of you also. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Is there still feedback? Am I still fine with feedback or no? Is it okay? It's okay.
I think it's a little better. Yeah.
Okay, fabulous. So thank you so much for coming and participating. I am honored to be with all of you. You know, when Rachel asked me to do this, I was like, this is amazing, right? Like you guys already are resilient by definition, right? So I think it's really bringing out you recognizing the fact of when you are resilient, naming it and labeling it for you, so that you feel it more, right? Because when we're sort of down in the dumps, we tend to feel down in the dumps, right? We tend to feel, excuse me, like, you know, not so great about ourselves. And we tend to look at things in a negative manner. And so it's sort of reversing and looking at the world through sort of a different lens. And we'll talk about that. So welcome. I'm going to share my slides. There's only a few slides, like so it's not like a note-taking thing or anything like that. Again, this is very participatory, so I'll ask questions. Feel free to chime in, feel free to write in the chat, right? And so we can get a discussion going. All right. Can everyone see my screen? Yes. Okay, excellent. So like Rachel said, this is the first in a 4-part series. The first workshop we'll be doing is realistic optimism, and we'll talk about what that means. Okay, so our objectives, right, is to think about the importance of realistic optimism for resiliency, to understand the role in your well-being, right, and to consider how you can improve it for yourself. So some ground rules, right? Typically there's 5 meetings. We actually have 4, right? Because you guys have done a lot on spirituality. So this is a little bit different for you guys. Confidentiality is super important. So what we talk about here, we want it to be a safe space, right? So we want other people to be able to share. We want to be able to feel free to share about our personal lives. So whatever we say here stays.
Hi, sweetie.
We also want to say that feedback is super important, right? So these models, we've been changing them, upgrading them as we've grown as a center. So if there's something that's missing from the model, or if you feel as though you really enjoyed certain aspects, that's helpful for us to highlight. And so at the end, we will give you a feedback form, and we would want you to be as honest as possible because you guys are where we get our information from. So this quote is how we start off this series. So would anyone like to read it for us out loud?
You can raise your hands if you want to. It's a little hard to see you, but I'm happy to read it. Oh, someone said yeah.
All right. If you make your bed every morning, you will have accomplished the first task of the day. It will give you a small sense of pride, and it will encourage you to do another task and another and another. And if by chance you have a miserable day, you will come home to a bed that is made, that you made, and a made bed gives you encouragement that tomorrow will be better.
So what do you think about this quote?
Sounds like my mother.
Tell us more.
What?
You're
Tell
too
us
funny.
more.
Well, I mean, of course I make my bed in the morning. I guess it's not always possible if you don't really feel well. If you don't feel very energetic, but I mean, I guess what I would say is there should be something that everybody decides to do at the start of their day that will sort of engender more activity or or pride or a sense of accomplishment. It doesn't have to be making your bed.
What are other people's thoughts about this quote?
I feel that if you do your bed and it's done already, it keeps you away from going back to bed. So it keeps you motivated in the sense that you want to do another task, because why are you going to go and lay in your bed if it's already made? So I feel like that's how I start my day. I do that. I laughed when Glenn said it sounded like her mom, because my mom used to tell me the same thing. Make sure you fix your bed before you do anything, because my mom used to say, you never know who's going to come home with you. So you always have to fix your bed. That's what she used to say. So I always fix my bed, and I always look at it that way, that my bed is fixed. I can't lay in it again until I'm ready to go to bed. So it keeps me going.
Other thoughts?
I see that in the chat that Danae wrote, excellent statement, making the bed in the morning grants the feelings of an organized day. And yes, my grandma always taught that.
Yeah, definitely.
It also reminds me a little bit, I believe it's Malcolm Gladwell who talked about in neighborhoods that are very kind of crime-ridden neighborhoods, about the broken windows theory. I don't know if anyone's heard that before.
Oh, I know it.
Oh, okay. Someone who knows it, do you want to explain what it is? I think it kind of reminded me of that.
The broken windows cause more crime to be committed. So broken windows should be fixed. I think that's what I remember from it, because it just looks like the neighborhood is run down, and any kind of behavior is acceptable, and that's what happens.
Yeah, I mean, we start with this, right? And it's not just about making the bed, right? You can pick literally anything in your life that helps you feel accomplished, right? And it's helpful to start early in the morning, because that way the rest of your day can escape you, right? Like, I don't know about you guys, but when I get out of bed, right, my life starts, and I'm like on a marathon, right? Like I'm like doing so many things at once, right? I'm getting ready to go for work. I'm taking the dog out. I'm like fixing my lunch. I'm like getting ready, right? So like all these things start happening. And if we take sort of a moment early in the day to do something that we feel accomplished about, right? Because it also has to do with the feeling, right? Because if you're making your bed just to make your bed and there's no like accomplishment feeling about it, then like maybe making your bed isn't for you. Maybe you're going to continue to do it because like that's what you do. But maybe it's loading the dishwasher. Maybe it's washing a dish. Maybe it's putting your dishes away, right? Like these are very small, like little things. Maybe it's taking the dog out. Maybe it's making yourself breakfast. Maybe it's preparing yourself a cup of coffee, right? Like whatever it is in your life that can make you feel like, I did that today, like for me. And that makes you feel better in some regard, it can be helpful, right? So
can I say something?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for anybody who's taking Lynparza or other drugs that have the same sleepy, which induce sleepiness, making the bed can be a little bit discouraging because I make my bed in the morning and then maybe around noon or 1 o'clock, I start to feel so sleepy. Then I have to go and unmake my bed. And I feel like, I haven't accomplished, I haven't done anything because that fatigue comes back before I've had a chance to do anything. So I don't know if that idea incorporates the challenge that people taking certain cancer drugs are dealing with.
Yeah, that's an excellent point, Glenn. Is that how you say your name, Glenn?
Glenn, yes.
Glenn. Does anyone else feel that way, or does that ring true for others?
Nope.
When I couldn't move around very much, I had to, because I was in so much pain. I would sometimes make my bed. And I used to really like it too, because then if I wanted to take a nap, I could. I was given a throw, and so I would just lie down on top of the made bed and use my throw, and it was very comforting to be lying down on it. And I can't say it was well made, but it was an attempt at making my bed, and then having this snuggly throw to use and to keep me warm. And then I still had my bed made, whatever that meant. So, I don't know if that helps.
Thank you. Any other thoughts or responses?
Yeah, for me, it's like knowing like when it's impossible to do that versus when you can push through it. And if you get to the other side, you feel better and then you can do more things. But sometimes it's just your will does not supersede your physical ailments, so to speak.
Yeah, for sure. I think we take all of this with a grain of salt, right? There are certain things that it has to be within your capacity, right? And so if making your bed is not your thing, or if making your bed is something that, you do just because you were told to do it, right? As a small child, and you actually don't like doing it, and it doesn't do anything for you, right? Then like making your bed is maybe not a thing to start your day off feeling accomplished, right? It's just sort of like a thing. It's all about how you think about it, right? And to recognize what is within your capacity, right? So if physically doing something like making your bed is too difficult, which there are times where it will be, right? Especially with medications, especially with the treatments that you're going through, like you're putting your body through a lot, right? And so to be okay with that, right? To give yourself grace and like, no, it's okay that I didn't make my bed today, right? I did something else, right? Or I went through a cancer treatment. Right? That's huge, right? That's an accomplishment in itself. So, and it's a huge one, more than what most people in their lifetime go through, right? So like take that into consideration. So it's not just about the small things, right? The small things can add up, but it's also about the big things. Thoughts on that?
But when you have a family, it's hard for you to say something like that because it's difficult for them to understand your feelings and for them to understand that you're not feeling well or that you don't have the energy to do what you need to do. It's very difficult for them to realize that. So I was always struggling with, even though I had no energy or I didn't want to do something, I struggled to get myself up to do it just because I felt like I had to, or else they wouldn't understand that I couldn't. I never gave myself that time to just not do it because I couldn't. I would always get up and do it. I mean, unless I was really, really down and out, I couldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. But if I was up, I would do what I could.
So you'd push yourself.
Yes.
Does that ring true for others?
Yeah.
Yeah. Alyssa.
Yeah. I had my first chemo session. I'm losing my words. I still have chemo brain, obviously. I don't know. And the day before Thanksgiving, and I still made all the food. And granted, we didn't do a big thing. It was just the three of us, my husband and my child and I. And so I just did a roasted chicken, but I made like a blackberry cobbler and potatoes and roasted spinach, like all the greens and fresh salad. And I did all of that, right after my first chemo treatment. And now like this whole summer, it's been so hot. I've been so lazy about cooking. I haven't turned the oven on. I don't want to eat anything. I just like, what's for dinner? A popsicle. Cause I'm just like, I'm over it. I'm kind of like, I don't know. I'm just like rebelling against all that stuff. And nobody, like my husband doesn't understand, because he's like, well, you did all the stuff during all your treatments. Now you're going to give, and it's like, I don't know. Like, I mean, I'm just, I don't know. Like I was just in like survival mode and doing everything kind of like a robot for so long. And now I'm just like I think like my body's slowing down and processing everything. And like, I can't sleep at night. And then at like 3 or 4 in the afternoon, I get so tired. And then that's time for me to pick my kid up, and then I have to be on again. And it's just like I don't know how to break the cycle of not, because I had to get a hysterectomy, and I know some of it's hormonal and some of it's, I don't know what's going on with me, but yeah, I need to sleep because I'm not functioning like a normal human being anymore. So,
I mean, and Alyssa, you bring up an excellent point, right? Like, when something happens that's large in our life, right? Like, so my program is built out of the pandemic, right? The program literally was built because they recognized that people who are in the healthcare field were having severe mental health concerns because of working in the healthcare field during the pandemic, right? And so even though the pandemic has been going on, it feels like forever, right? Like 18 months. It's now that people are recognizing, oh, wait, I've been like going, like the Energizer Bunny kind of deal for all of these months consecutively, and sort of not allowing myself to process, not allowing my body to catch up, not like, and it sounds very similar for you with how you were doing treatments, right? Like you were in it. And so when we're in something, we're really good at sort of like pushing through and pushing past whatever emotions we're feeling. We sort of like take a side seat, right? Like that's not in the forefront of what we're doing, because we have to go through or get to the other side of what we're trying to do. And it's usually when we're on the other side that our body all of a sudden is like, whoa, like that was a thing, right? Like, and so that's what we're seeing. That's what people are feeling. And so many more people are coming forward now than during the highest point in the pandemic. And it sounds very similar to what you're saying. So recognize there's nothing wrong with you. You're not crazy. It's your body's way and your mind's way of catching up to what you've been through. It's huge. So what is realistic optimism? Who would like to read this for us?
Oh, it's okay if I take pictures of it, right? So I can remember it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay, that's
Feel
what
free.
I'm doing. I'm not taking
Feel
pictures.
free.
I'm not taking pictures of any of the women. I'm just getting the text in it, just in case anybody was wondering.
Okay.
I'll read it if you want.
Go ahead, Joan. Thank you.
Contrary to popular belief, optimism as a resilience trait does not mean blindly ignoring life's problems or viewing the world through rose-colored glasses, as do pessimists. Realistic optimists pay close attention to negative information that is relevant to the problems they face. However, unlike pessimists, they do not remain focused on the negative. They tend to disengage rapidly from problems that appear to be unsolvable. They know when to turn their attention to solvable problems.
So looking at this definition and reading it back to yourself and hearing it out loud, what are your reactions to it?
I think it's really interesting that it does start with the fact that it's contrary to popular belief, because I do think, there's people sort of confuse optimism and being like a Pollyanna, and being unrealistic, and I think that this is a really, I haven't heard that term realistic optimism before. Again, I think sometimes people look at people who are optimistic as unrealistic and, again, the rose-colored glasses and stuff like that. But that was really interesting.
Other thoughts about this definition?
I think it's, I find that if I focus on problems that are unsolvable, they just drive me crazy. I can't sleep. I don't really want to eat. It seems hopeless, helpless, et cetera, et cetera. But, and this is for me, part of the mind training of being able to turn towards things I'm in control of, how I can solve my problems. Feels much better. And usually the unsolvable problems will resolve themselves anyway, in one way or another. So, once you've done your due diligence of trying to find solutions to things, and that's it.
Yeah.
To just turn towards something more solvable, more life affirming, for me, is very valuable. Yeah.
Definitely. And our minds are really powerful, right? Our minds determine how we think, how we feel, what we do, right? And so our minds always go to what we're looking for, right? So if we're looking for the negative in life, we'll find it, right? Like we will find evidence to support whatever it is our mind is telling us. And so if our mind is saying, oh, things will never get better, or the pandemic will never end, right? Or this treatment's not working, or I'll never feel good again, right? Our minds will find evidence in support of that, right? Versus if we flip it, if we say, you know what, the pandemic sucks, right? And like we're all suffering because of it. But also, it won't be here forever, right? Like that gives some like little part of hope, right? It changes it from the all or nothing thinking that we tend to do most often. Other thoughts about this?
May I, Elicia?
Yeah, go ahead.
May I? I just want to come into agreement, if I can, with I think some things that Glenn said earlier, and Nancy and Robin, I think. And I love what you said in the beginning. We are already resilient, the ladies here. Mm-hmm. Sometimes, even though we're going through what we're going through, putting our bodies through, and we take in some pretty bad boys. Those meds that we're taking in for our treatments, there's some bad boys. They're potent, and sometimes as women, what we tend to forget is it's in our DNA that we're the nurturers. We're the ones who, no matter what, we keep pressing. And yes, I agree with Nancy. Sometimes family just doesn't understand. They don't understand what we're going through. We don't feel well or whatever. But that realistic optimism within us, it's built in. It's built in. And that's, for me, that's where much of the encouragement and the empowerment source comes from. We're just made. That's our DNA, you know, and that's why no matter what, we're not in denial of what the pessimist sees. We're not in denial of it. We keep it real, but we're also resilient in that respect.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
I'm interested in this word disengage. Disengage rapidly from problems that appear to be unsolvable, because you can disengage because you know that the solution is out of your hands, but it still can continue nagging at you. And that sort of creates, a cloud. And I can say that's happening to me with regard to what's happening politically in this country. I don't feel like I have much control except voting. And yet it's bothering me more and more. And, I can't disengage and forget about it. It's there. So, I mean, maybe this has to do with, maybe this is cancer specific, and it's just as far as our, being diagnosed, and we have no way to change that we were diagnosed, but I don't know, I look at it more universally.
And that's an excellent point, right? Like this is difficult to do, right? Like this version of sort of viewing the world, and we'll get to it on the next slide where it sort of compares and contrasts, is really hard. It's not something that is easy to do. But what I will say is the more you practice it, the better you become at it. And the word disengage is specifically used because it's about the control, right? It's about what we can control, knowing what we do have control over and what we don't have control over. And the part that we don't, sort of allowing that to sort of fade into the background instead of focusing all of our energy on it. Because if we focus our energy on things that we can't control, we'll always feel like failures because we have no power over it. And so that's the loop that we don't want to get stuck in, because we'll continue to feel powerless. That's where hopelessness sets in. And that's where the feeling of a failure continues to sort of grow.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So take a look at this. We attempted to sort of give a visual of pessimism versus realistic optimism, right? So pessimism is the thing that we know really well, right? That we're not really great, we're not feeling wonderful, right? Something stressful happens to us. Let's go back to the example of the pandemic, right? Or the example of a cancer diagnosis, right? Like you're diagnosed with a really scary cancer and you hear, right, that, or you feel like I'll never get better. I'll always have to deal with this. I'll always, whatever the thoughts are that you're having, you use the words always and never. Those are two very separate thoughts, right? They're very polarizing. That doesn't give you any room for gray area. It's very black and white, right? Instead, with realistic optimism, we're merging into the field of gray, because the reality is everything is gray, right? So in pessimism, not feeling well, using always, never, And then also there's this aspect of permanent thinking and universal thinking, right? Permanent meaning like forever and ever and ever, I will feel this way, right? And universal, experiencing it not only in a small section of your life, but experiencing it to everything, right? Because I have this cancer diagnosis, I'll always feel bad. I'll always be in medical treatment. I'll always be on medication. I'll never get better. And therefore, everything in life is ruined. You can see how that follows that line, right? It follows that trend of pessimism. Versus the realistic optimism part, where you can feel a bit better about it. You use keywords like sometimes or lately, right? So we're not talking about always and never. We're saying things like, yes, you know, with this pandemic, it's happening right now. It doesn't mean that it's going to always be happening. It means that at this moment, it's occurring, right? And I sometimes feel scared, right? I sometimes feel nervous. I sometimes feel whatever the feeling is, but that doesn't have to be all the time, 100%. There are moments that I feel that way. Right? And that is with these responses of temporary, I'll feel bad sometimes, right? And then limited, but this thing is happening, but the rest of everything else is okay. Right? So back to the cancer diagnosis, right? Yes, I have this diagnosis, but that does not equal, in my mind, everything is bad, right? It equals that this diagnosis makes it difficult for me to function in life, maybe physically, because I have to be on this medication, and the medication leaves me feeling weak. And so when I'm weak, I physically can't do the things that I want to do, and that frustrates me. But that doesn't mean that I'm always going to be frustrated. That means that in this moment of time, while I'm doing this treatment, while I'm on this medication, I'm feeling frustrated. But it doesn't mean that it'll be here forever. So thoughts on this?
Well, I can tell the difference between pessimism and realistic optimism just from my recent trip to France, where I was for 5 weeks, and I had to spend 2 weeks of that alone. And I didn't like being alone all the time, but I kept thinking, okay, well, I'm alone, but look, I have these wonderful things to see, and I can go here and I can go there. And, you know, all of that, all the positive parts kind of, you know, blocked out the fact that I had to spend 2 weeks by myself. So, but, you know, I guess if you're doing things that you really like, if you have activities, for me, activities that I really enjoy, they can, you know, diminish the impact of less pleasant things like taking certain drugs, etc.
Mm-hmm.
But the key is finding activities. And as I said at the beginning, there aren't a lot of activities during the pandemic because of the pandemic. So like, what else is there? Or is there something else besides activities? But I don't know what that would be.
Fair. Thoughts to that? So we're going to go to the final slide, which is talking about sort of how you can engage in realistic optimism, right? Because like Sun said, like the pandemic has really changed the way we do life, right? Like it's really interfered with our social capacity. It's interfered with us physically seeing one another, the ways in which we greet one another, the ways in which we have meetings, right? So many aspects of our lives have changed due to this pandemic that's still going on. And so even within the pandemic, even within the cancer diagnosis, there are ways in which to feel a bit better about what's going on. So ways in which to engage in thinking realistic optimism, right? And I just like to say, you know, sometimes I think about pessimism versus optimism. Pessimism, glass half empty, right? Optimism, glass half full, right? Realistic optimism, I sort of think like, do I want the glass? Like what's in it? Is it milk? Is it wine? Is it a cocktail? Is it water? Right? Like, do I care about what's in the glass? Right? So it's changing the mindset of like, what are we actually looking for? Right? So, you know, the first step is to catch your interpretation, right? If your interpretation of the pandemic is that it's horrible and the world is literally and figuratively dying, right? Then that's what your mind will keep going to, right? Negative energy begets negative energy. Right? So that's what'll keep happening. Versus if you catch, oh, yeah, it's really crappy that we're in this situation, but also it's not going to go on forever. Right? There is hope. Cultivating positive or realistic thoughts. Right? Something that we do with a lot of our patients are gratitude journals. Right? Because again, where your mind uses the most energy and activity is where it'll keep going towards. So if you decide, I'm going to now focus on the positive things, I'm going to catch positive things that happen within my life. That starts with gratitude and being grateful. Right? And you can do this any which way you like. You can say it out loud to yourself. You can share it with other people. Right? If you wake up in the morning and think about one thing that you're grateful for, it might be waking up, right? It might be being alive. It might be feeling within your body. It might be talking to a friend. It might be this group. It might be your social network. It might be church. It might be your partner or your child or your pet, whatever it is for you, to recognize it and be grateful for it. The more you practice gratitude, the more your brain will fill with gratitude and the less space it will physically have for the negative. It's like a very simple concept. It actually works really well. Third part, to avoid dwelling on the negative things, right? So we did that partially by the gratitude journal, like by figuring out what we're grateful for and recognizing it and either writing it down or telling someone about it. But then also to catch what's called rumination, right? To catch your brain continuing to sort of spiral and go down a rabbit hole of the things are awful, right? There is a pandemic. I have this really severe medical diagnosis. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't have control of my body. I don't have control of the doctors. I don't have control of the world. I don't have control of politics. I don't have control of this disease. Right? You can keep going. We're really good at this. At some point, we have to put a stop to it. So the minute you catch yourself saying, whichever one of those is first that comes for you, I can't control my diagnosis. Okay, what can you control? I can control going to the doctor. I can control reaching out for support. I can control speaking with my family and educating them. I can control how I decide to look and feel about receiving this diagnosis. Those are things within your power. Okay? Also, if you're one of those people who does the spiraling thinking, right? You want to, a helpful way to look at this is to schedule your worry time in terms of, okay, I know I'm someone that continues to worry. So for 10 minutes a day, I get to worry and go down that rabbit hole, but then I stop after 10 minutes, right? And then you think about it later and you're like, nope, tomorrow I have 10 minutes, right? And that's safe for them. And I know we're out of time. I'm just going to go over this one. This is our last slide. And then behave in positive ways, right? So do something like what we talked in the beginning. Unload the dishwasher, pet your pet, kiss your partner, whatever it is that makes you feel good, do more of that, right? And give yourself credit for doing it. So I hope this was beneficial. I hope it was helpful. Unfortunately, we've run out of time, but I'll see you guys again. If there are questions, you can feel free to reach out to Rachel with them. I'll be happy to answer them, and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Elicia.
Thank you.
I love,
Thank you.
yeah, I love the fact that this is the first in a series, because I feel like we often have speakers and we kind of get into topics and then it's cut short. Again, we decided to do it every other month, in order to give some space, so you don't have to kind of overcommit. But really looking forward, we already have the date. You'll see it coming up soon on the calendar, not for November, but for December. And this was great. Thank you so much. And you all were awesome today. You all participated and, shared and read and asked great questions and put interesting things in the chat. So thank you all so much. This was fantastic.
Thank you.
Alyssa.
Take care.
Alyssa, I put something in the chat for you. I don't know if you got it. I don't hear you.
You're on mute, Alyssa. I'm gonna stop our recording, but thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Rachel.